To learn to live the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Click the bell notification. It's all free. So as I've told you in several previous videos, there was this psychic who told me one day that I wasn't telling the truth, that I have a house, big mansion down the road, and I come down here to this off-grid property and make videos, and then I go back to the big mansion. And I've tried to explain that away several times. I think I've convinced most people that we actually do live at this house. I mean, obviously you can see the firewood that I've cut up. We have our off-grid laundromat here, and you got the wood stove and all that. But well, today it's pretty obvious that she was right. There's no way I can cover this up. I'm pretty much in trouble here, and so I just confess my crimes once again and try to apologize and on that I don't actually live off-grid. Obviously I can't live off-grid. There's a power line right there, you can see. Now I've tried to explain that away before also, that when I go over to the power box on the power pole over here, there's no meter base. But what I do each time is I take that meter base out so I can make a video and try to explain to you that when something happens to me, Carolyn can just call an electrician. They can wire all this up and they can put the meter base back in. But obviously the meter base is there. This is just my little man cave that I come down and do videos on and make my millions of dollars on YouTube. Obviously, because that's the only way I can afford a big mansion like described by the psychic. Well, today it's 10 degrees outside. It's just downright cold. And wouldn't you know it, the grid went down. And they're talking about on the radio that the grid's going to be down for a couple weeks. There's no way to get this repaired. They got to order supplies, and of course with all the supply chain issues, those supplies are going to take a long time to get. So since we don't live off grid, like I've been saying, we're as in much trouble as everybody else who hasn't prepared for a situation like this. Now of course I've tried to explain to you that I've got backup systems and we'll be okay. But like the buddy heater here, I've showed you the buddy here. We got the buddy heater in case we couldn't get the wood stove to work. We didn't actually have a full tank of propane. That tank's empty, so it doesn't work. And the firewood is just decorations. That's not actually firewood because our wood stove isn't actually hooked up. I wouldn't even know how to get it to hook up. Now what we thought we could do, let's go to the gas station and get another propane tank, but of course the gas station is closed. We walked there, that's a 2-mile trip. So I walked there and the gas station was closed. Duh, they don't have any electric. So that didn't work. Well, then I thought, well, I'll just get in the truck and I could do two things with the truck, which is go to town to get another propane tank, and I could get warm. That was the big thing. Now, of course, we don't have water either because I wasn't smart enough to remember to turn the faucet on to get it to drip. You got to let that water drip so the pipes don't freeze. So the pipes are frozen in our $1 million mansion. And so we're going to have to hire someone after all this is done, if we're still alive, to fix all the plumbing. That's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars. And now that my YouTube channel is going to fail because I've been lying to you, obviously that's not true. It's a beautiful fall day. Temperature's probably in the high 60s right now. Got up and the temperature was probably 58 degrees. And so I will admit that I did buy this nude coat and I'm really glad I got it. It's a Carhartt. It was pretty expensive and I don't like spending that kind of money. I really don't, but I need a good coat. I need one that's going to keep me warm because I work so much outside during the winter that the coats I've had just aren't warm enough, and that one's really warm. It was the more expensive brand. I mean, I didn't know Carhartt had different layers of warmth, but this was level 2 heating or something, and so I went ahead and got that. Like I said, I feel pretty guilty about getting it. So the reason I bring this up is one time I made a video where I was talking about the coffee pot and how someone caught me because we were making coffee and we don't have electric. How can you make coffee without electric? And the video did really well, so I thought I would play off of that video a little bit. As a matter of fact, if you wouldn't mind watching to the end of the video and clicking that video, Even if you've seen it, it gives the algorithm an indication that you like this video because you're clicking another video, and it helps my channel out. So I appreciate it if you could do that. But I wanted to talk about this because I did a poll today, and I asked the question, the electric grid just went down, it's 10 degrees outside, what do you do? Possible choices were hope and pray that the electric comes back on soon, start the generator and hope it starts, turn on my backup heater and hope the power comes back on soon, or do exactly what you did yesterday. Now, the reason I bring this up is I keep thinking about Texas last year. I've asked several poll questions regarding that concept. Texas froze last winter, power went down, people perished, people were staying in their cars. That was one of the poll questions I put in there, was staying in your car for warmth. People were staying in their car for warmth. So these were not made up ideas. These things actually happened. Like I said, I've done several poll questions where I've kind of come around to this idea that people are not learning their lessons. And I understand this. In my past, obviously, you always think, well, there's tomorrow. I can do that tomorrow. Like I was joking around up there, I'm out of propane. I got 5 cans of propane because I use propane for all my backup needs. My water heater, we use it to cook with if we don't cook with wood. But in the past, I would always say, oh, I'll get propane later. Oh, I'll fill up the gas cans later. Oh, I need to buy a backup heater or a little buddy heater or something. I'll get it later. I don't have the money this month. I'll get it next month. And so you're always making excuses as to why you're not going to actually do what you need to do. And then when something does happen, you don't have it, and bad things really do happen. One respondent said, I'll deal with the situation when it comes. Well, that's pretty tough if you're dealing with the situation after it's already happened. There's not much you can do. And Texas was a perfect example of this. They were out of electric, 100-year temperatures, cold temperatures. These kind of temperatures only happen every 100 years. Gas stations closed down, roads were closed, roads were packed with vehicles. Nobody could move, nobody could get anywhere. So they didn't have any choice but to get into their cars to stay warm. Of course, you risk carbon monoxide poisoning when you do that, because you got the gas going into the cab of the vehicle. The car is supposed to be moving when it's driving. When it's sitting, that carbon monoxide can't get into the vehicle. I wonder if anybody died from carbon monoxide doing that. Immediately, I made a video talking about Texas and how when you have a self-sustaining lifestyle, you don't have to worry about these things. Do what you did yesterday. I can go get firewood off my firewood stack. I can put it in the wood stove and it'll burn. Now, if something happens to my wood stove, I do have a buddy heater. But now the thing is the buddy heater is good for 200 square feet. I think it's actually 225 square feet. Our house is just under 200 square feet. I don't know if it would actually keep up with 10-degree temperatures or 0-degree temperatures. So it's not something I want to live with long term. And I only have so much propane. The buddy heater, I think, lasts, 48 hours off one of those 20-pound tanks. I got, like I said, 5 of them, so it wouldn't be long before I was out of propane if it was an extended period. And we'd all be huddled around that. It would be very uncomfortable. So I want to make sure that my necessities, I have backups to. And I've said this before. So I have a backup water heater because I need hot water. I have a backup well pump. I have a backup IBC tank RV pump. If you think about all the sources of water that I can possibly come up with, I've got like 5 or 6 different sources of water if something goes wrong. How I can get water. I can go down to a spring down the hill and get buckets of water. I still have the 225 gallons of water in the IBC tank, or I got the well. All of that is a water source, and that's a key element to to quality of life. I even have a backup place to live if I really need to. I can go back and live in the camper if something happens to the house. If you're powering your house with electric, you are relying on your backup to work because electric is not stable. It's not something that you can rely on. So the primary is supposed to be something you are able to rely on. Electric goes down all the time. We know this. And it's going to get worse. I recognize people do not believe things are going to get worse. But I read article after article from reputable news sources, if you can call them reputable, and there are power companies in the United States. They're not going to be able to power their communities if they have excessive cold temperatures like they did last year. And the thing I keep thinking is, I didn't think last year was that cold. Yeah, Texas got hit for, what, 2 weeks? But that wasn't excessive. What do they call an excessive? Even though people are actually saying they're not going to be able to give you electric, when I make a poll and I ask people, do you think the power grid could go down because there's not enough resources to power them? People will say, no, I don't believe that. Somebody said, well, we are powered by a nuclear power plant, so we don't have a problem. There's a nuclear power plant next to us too, and it only provides like a third of the power in our area. So if you're thinking that the nuclear power plant is supplying your entire house, I would highly doubt that. Others said, oh, we have hydropower, we got dams. Again, dams do not supply all the power needs of a community, not anymore. They may have in the past. So the reason I went through this exercise today was to get you to realize that winter's coming quick. And I'm hearing from people, I don't know how true it is because I don't believe in all this futuristic stuff, but I am hearing that this is going to be a really tough winter. Again, right around here, you're going to see a little end screen pop up. I'd like for you to click that, watch the video. Don't watch the video, just let it run while you go to do your chores. So I hope I can inspire you to be ready for this winter so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.